What do we do when our dogs are barking and lunging at triggers? Why do they even do it? Well, sometimes they're afraid. In this episode, we're delving into fear and why our dogs behave the way they do when they're in what they think is a scary situation. Hi, I'm Freya Locke, dog parent of Twyla the Springador, owner of my on-the-ground business Locke's Dogs, behaviourist and trainer, and the creator of the online Fun Not Fear school, club and podcast. We know there's nothing in life that can be taught with fear that can't be taught with fun apart from fear itself, and so it's our mission to teach you how to have a great life with your dog with none of the aversive equipment and icky methods of the past. Why listen to me? Well, when it comes to dogs who have behaviour struggles, I've been there and got the t-shirt. Guiding my own dog through his many struggles, I realised behaviour is my passion in life. I got qualified and have now helped hundreds of dogs with anxiety-based struggles, both in person and over the internet. I also know that dog parents want clear, easy and jargon-free advice they can follow that actually works. We'll make it easy for you and your dog to have the fun, not fear life you need together and overcome any anxiety your dog might struggle with, without doing anything complicated or difficult, without doing anything scary, and by simply having fun with your dog, playing games and doing the things you both enjoy. We've all been there, either with our own dogs or when faced with someone else's dog. The sight of a dog barking, lunging, spinning around at the end of their lead and making a hell of a racket. Or the dog who refuses to move while you're on your walk or is cowering and shaking. It's embarrassing and it's really sometimes quite scary, right? So what if I told you your dog was not doing this to be naughty? They might actually be afraid. So let's dig into fear and how it affects our dog's behaviour so that we can learn to support them and help them with their fears. All dogs and most living animals, including humans, have a built-in system in their brain that tells them when they're faced with something scary to run away, maybe hide, or to face the scary thing and try and scare it away instead. Sometimes this might lead to a fight as the dog tries to protect themselves. Some dogs might also freeze if they're not sure what to do and so they do nothing at all. Dogs wouldn't survive very long if they didn't have this built-in survival mechanism, and neither would any other kind of animal. This would have kept us all safe for hundreds of thousands of years. So think of it. Let's take two dogs. The first is really confident, waggy, happy, unafraid of anything at all. All novelty objects are fun and exciting and this dog wants to explore them and play with them. The second dog, he's a bit fearful and a bit submissive and he runs away at the first sign of trouble. If he can't run away, he might growl and bark at the things that scare him in the hope that they'll go away and leave him alone. It's a very rare dog that actually wants to fight, as that wouldn't make sense for survival of the species either, but that's their only option, so sometimes it has to happen. The first dog walks past a rock and he hears a shuffling behind it. He goes happily over to investigate and bam, out jumps a tiger and eats him. The dog no longer lives to create more confident dogs. The second dog goes over and hears the shuffling, backs away really quickly, maybe even hides, and he lives to create another generation of cautious dogs. If the second dog couldn't get away, there might be more of a chance of him surviving by fighting or by being very still and freezing than there is of him going over to play, and so he might choose to fight or freeze instead. The world around our dogs has changed a lot, and the chances of them being mauled by a bigger predator is slim to none, but their brain hasn't quite caught up to that far yet. So, our dogs still behave as their brains tell them to, and their brains have told them this for thousands of years. We can't change our dog's survival instincts, so we have to change how they see the trigger instead. We do that by turning triggers into neutral or good news for the dog. Think about it. If the dog doesn't care about or is pleased to see the trigger, they no longer need to be fearful of it and display fearful behaviours. One way of doing this is to avoid putting the dog in a situation where the trigger's too much and too scary, and then teaching the dog that the trigger predicts good things are happening. If I was to be given 50 quid every time I saw a clown at the end of the high street where it can't get near me, pretty soon I'd be happy to spot that clown at the distance. Knowing how I feel about clowns, that's quite close enough for now, but with £50 every time I saw that clown, slowly that would start to change. Now, trigger work can be a really risky business for a dog parent to go alone, so it has to be said, always consult a professional. It can be super easy to push the dog out of their comfort zone so far that they react or that they become scared, and so it's important to always work with a behaviourist who uses reward-based methods and doesn't try to punish the dog's behaviour with aversive methods. This will make the dog feel worse about the trigger. Even if for a brief period they seem to have control of themselves, after all, yelling at me every time I see a clown isn't going to make me less afraid of clowns. So you see, your dog's not actually behaving badly when they're fearful, as the guy on TV says, but he's actually acting on thousands of years of inbuilt survival instincts, and it's our job to help them feel better about the trigger. Fear doesn't always show up as barking or lunging. Fear can also be freezing or refusing to move, side eye, a front paw lifted when the dog's not indicating something, crouching low, tail tucked between the legs, loss of appetite or a refusal to take treats. They might be whimpering, they might be unable to perform a really basic cue like a hand touch, flattened ears, whites of the eyes showing, upset tummy, all kinds of things can show fear in our dog. In our club, we've got a whole course of resources about what to expect from a dog who's fearful and how to help them, so it's definitely worth a look. If ever you want to learn more about having a fun, not a fear life with your dog, do come and check out our club and school at www.funnotafear.co.uk or our on-the-ground business, locksdogs.co.uk, where you can find out all about your dog's behaviour and how to have an amazing life with them. Fear in dogs is a massive subject, and there are infinite things our dogs might find themselves worried by at various times in their lives. From the fear periods in puppyhood, which is a normal part of development, to developing phobias and fears as an adult, there can be all kinds of things going on. With any behaviour change, always consult your vet, as it could be down to a hidden health issue. There might be pain that your dog isn't able to express in any other way. And dogs are very stoic creatures, and quite often fear is based in pain. And do always ask a reward-based professional to help you with what can be quite a scary issue, actually, and quite heartbreaking for your dog. These things can be helped and they can be solved in many cases, but please, please, please don't try and go it alone. Do ask for professional help. So, that's it for this episode of the Fun Not Fear Dog podcast. Hope you enjoyed listening to it as much as we enjoyed putting it together for you. Don't forget, if you like what you heard and you want help for your dog, you can also check out our one-to-one services, or you can join our Fun Not Fear Club and get courses and resources and interactive lives with a qualified behaviourist and trainer for less than £2 a week at locksdogs.co.uk. And remember, there is nothing that can be taught with fear that can't be taught with fun apart from fear itself. See you next time.